Hello, Tim from Fair Play Now, and it's the 29th of April 2021, and I'd like to share with you in this video some of the channels that I've been watching over the last year during the pandemic, and where I've been getting a lot of my information from, a lot of my entertainment from, and there's 8 of them altogether here, and between them I've probably spent hundreds of hours now watching all of these channels, particularly during the initial stages of the first lockdown and also during the winter, but also a lot more during the other times as well. This isn't an exhaustive list. I've watched a lot of other things as well, but I'd say these are probably the main 8. And a lot of the others have just been flash in the pan things, which I thought were good to start with, but then I became not so sure of and stopped watching them, or they just disappeared, or whatever. But the first one, and this is one that I was watching a lot of, particularly this time last year, and it's probably the channel that started sowing a few seeds of doubt in my mind as to the whole narrative, and it's talk radio, and especially people like this guy here, all these 3 people here, and this guy here, Peter Hitchens, and Mike Graham, this chap here, does, I think it's on a Monday morning, he does an interview, about a 20-minute interview with Peter Hitchens every kind of Monday, somewhere sort of around mid-morning-ish. And Peter Hitchens has been anti-lockdown really from day one. So for the last 13 months, he's been a pretty vocal anti-lockdown guy. And he primarily was the one who got me watching this channel. And yeah, he does come out with some really good stuff. Also, I think it's Mike Graham who interviews him, the Scottish guy with long dark hair, can't remember his name, but he was the guy who used to present that Coast programme, and he comes out with some good stuff. I don't watch talk radio quite so much now, purely and simply because although they're very kind of anti-lockdown, they're sort of pretty much pro Big V, which I can't really understand how you can be anti one of them and pro the other, unless you're just a total kind of wishful thinker, thinking that the latter will finish the former for good. But I'm just not resonating with them quite so much. So I'm not really looking at this lot so much these days, but I do catch the odd show every now and again still with them. The second channel is this guy here, Carl Vernon, and I can highly recommend his channel. Very much on our wavelength, can't really understand all the silliness and nonsense that goes on, and he's pretty humorous as well, quite lively, quite humorous, and he does really sort of raise some very pertinent facts and sort of features. He does all these little kind of 3 or 4 minute videos, but he also does sort of live podcasts or streamings. I think it's Sunday nights or something. They're well worth catching as well. But there is another guy, I'll just sort of mention him while I talk about Carl Vernon, because he's a doctor and his name's similar. But this doctor's Christian name is the same as this guy's last name. So it's a doctor, same name there, Coleman. So I think you know who I'm talking about. You won't get him on YouTube though. You'll have to go to Brand New Tube or somewhere like that to catch his videos. But again, he's worth checking out. But I thought I'd mention him because his name, I used to get them both confused actually. I thought, who's the doctor and who's this bloke, the bald-headed bloke? But anyway, so that's the second channel, well worth checking out. The third one here, this Anna Brees. I really got into her channel a lot, kind of during late spring and summer of last year, 2020. Primarily because she used to do this thing where ordinary people could just shoot a 5-minute, 10-minute video and she'd stick it up on her channel and give you a bit of a platform to speak your mind. And there was all these really, really interesting people, sort of telling how they were coping with the whole pandemic situation and the lockdown, and most of them were sort of COVID skeptics, and it was very, very interesting. And unfortunately, I don't know why, but she stopped doing them about September time, October time, and she's still coming up with a few current videos. I think she's still putting up the odd video here and there, but she seems to not be doing so much these days. Don't really know why. The next one, a lot of you will know him. It's our friend Lee from Veritas Vincit channel, and I actually came across Lee because he was one of the guys who spoke on Anna Brees, and I saw him speaking on that, and then he kind of appeared on my YouTube feed on his own, and I've been watching his videos. He tends to come out with videos most days or pretty much every day, and yeah, unlike a lot of these other people who are sort of quite polished presenters, he's just an ordinary guy, just really speaking his mind, speaking how he feels on the particular day that he's shooting a video on. So again, he's very much on my wavelength, so I've sort of subscribed to his channel. I don't know why all these channels are saying I need to subscribe. I've already subscribed to them, but I've been subscribed to his channel for a good long time now. So moving on, there's this guy, and he's almost like the Swedish equivalent of Vernon and Lee from Veritas. He's this kind of Swedish guy who just sits there. Again, he produces a video most days, and he speaks his mind, very much on my wavelength about the whole sort of COVID skeptic, Big V situation, and he also sort of comments on various events happening around the world. And the reason I like this guy is because he gives a bit of international perspective. He's obviously lives in Sweden, and he gives a kind of international perspective on the way I'm sort of thinking and feeling. So well worth checking out, Sanity for Sweden. So the next one, and this is a guy I've been talking about quite a lot in my sort of recent videos, pandemic podcast with this guy here, a guy called Dan, and he is superb really. Most of his videos are quite long, so anything from about half an hour all the way up to sort of best part of 2 hours, and he does a lot of interviews with a lot of very kind of a lot of interviews with some really expert kind of people, eminent doctors, experienced people, and he seems to manage to get these people onto his podcasts and gets them to sort of spill the beans really. And he's also very, very good at research, and really knows what he's talking about. So I can really highly recommend subscribing to Pandemic Podcast as well, and checking out a few of these videos. So these two here, the second one down here and the third one down, they're real humdingers and are well worth the watch if you've got the sort of time to do so. I actually sort of recommended this second one in my video yesterday as well, but yeah, if you haven't caught it yet, so if you haven't watched it yet, well worth a watch. And this next one, UK column news, again, really well worth looking at. They sort of do an hour special every sort of Monday, Wednesday and Friday, and it's one of the most credible truth news channels around. Unfortunately, they seem to be getting censored a heck of a lot at the moment. They haven't really had a sort of a proper programme out since the 14th of April. Since then, I think they've been suffering from a lot of censorship issues. But they've got this latest episode that I've seen, just watched it today, 26th of April, which is Monday's one. Couldn't actually see it on their channel, but there's this little channel here, Nevermind. Only got 50 subs, but basically he's managed to upload this video and play it on his channel. And that's how I managed to watch the latest, or just about the latest, episode of UK column news. So again, it's a really good one to watch if you can catch this one, UK column news, 26th of April, because they talk about the events in London on the 24th and how the whole mainstream media thing was a complete whitewash as far as that was concerned, and a complete kind of propaganda fest with the whole sort of police incident at the end, trying to make out that it was the protesters who caused the trouble when it wasn't the protesters, shall we say. But they explain it really well in this episode. So moving on to the last one, and again, I've talked about these guys in the last couple of my videos here and there, and I've only literally came across these guys in the last sort of few days, and this Flccc Alliance, and really worth watching if you're at all interested in the drug starting with I or either, and really they've got so many videos here, all of them kind of all about that particular drug and people's mostly almost entirely positive experience with it. So if you're interested in that subject, well worth checking out FLCCC channel as well. So there's 8 channels there, probably enough for you to be getting on with. I'm sure you've heard of some of them or many of them yourself, but there might be one or two there that you haven't heard of, and even if you have heard of them, I thought you might like to know what my perspective is on them and what I think of them. And I hope that's been useful. So check out those channels. Tim from Fair Play Now, thanks for watching.